Hi, my name is Daisy DeCoster, and I'm the director of the Teresa and Edward O'Toole Library at St. Peter's University. This video tutorial is designed for students in the subject area of education to support your use of academic sources for research assignments, capstone projects, and doctoral dissertations. So there are a few things I hope students will learn or skills that they might fine-tune through watching this video. First, we're going to talk about developing a keyword list based on your research topic and some strategies for developing different keywords. I'm going to share the Education Research Guide so students can understand the purpose of this guide and how to access it. I'm going to show you some useful databases in the subject area of education where you can search for scholarly sources. And I'm also going to demonstrate how to utilize limiters within these research databases to better target useful articles. Developing keywords or search terms for your research topic is an important skill for academic research. So before you just enter your whole research topic as a sentence or a string of words into a database or a search engine, I'd like to encourage you to think a little bit about your keywords or search terms. I want you to consider related terms to your topic, so not just the words that you'll use to describe your topic, but things that might be related or ways other researchers might have looked at similar topics. One way to do this is to explore broader concepts. So to sort of move away from your topic and think about how it might have been discussed in broader scholarship. I also want you to tease out the variables in your own research. So think about what you're researching and what you're actually going to be measuring, or what variables you think researchers might have measured to find things that are interesting to your topic. In order to better explain how one might approach coming up with a list of keywords or search terms, I'm going to offer an example of a topic that a student was considering for a doctoral dissertation in the subject area of education, specifically higher ed. So this student wanted to research how participation in the EOF program, which is Equal Opportunity Fund, impacts student success in obtaining a bachelor degree. So the first thing about keywords is that you don't want to put entire sentences or long strings of words into a search engine because it might exclude relevant literature. So different researchers might not necessarily use the words participation or obtaining or impact because those words are sort of general, and there's many ways that we can describe that. So we want to pick out those keywords. Here I think they'd be EOF or Equal Opportunity Fund, student success, and bachelor degree. So just to start with your topic, consider what the keywords would be. Then we're going to break apart these keywords and think about either synonyms or related concepts, broader or narrower, that we can search that relate to each of those keywords. So in this particular topic, we identified 3 keywords. And let's talk about how we might think about this. So EOF, or Equal Opportunity Fund, if you're not familiar, is a New Jersey program started in the late 60s, which supports economically disadvantaged students in achieving their college ambitions. So there might not be a huge array of literature just researching the impacts of Equal Opportunity Fund. Of course, you'd want to look and see what's available, and it would be great to find some other dissertations or articles that do measure that if they exist. But we know you can often find relevant research that looks at either similar programs or interventions, or looks at aspects of that. And in the case of Equal Opportunity Fund, since it is a scholarship program, I've suggested maybe in this example, you might search financial assistance. EOF students also receive support services through the program. They receive counseling, tutoring. There's something called the Summer Bridge program where EOF students typically come early, and those programs happen on all different college campuses. Or you might include the keyword economically disadvantaged students, because nothing in your original keyword list will pull out research on those students that might have occurred. Similarly, I took student success, and I would, if you're the researcher, I would ask the student, what do you mean by student success? And oftentimes that's measured or might be measured by this particular researcher as graduation rates might be succeeding, completing college, persistence, which means, not dropping out, continuing after the first and second year. And grade point average might be another measure of student success. And this would all depend on the researcher and exactly what you were interested in and what you were measuring if you're a doctoral student in your original research. And bachelor degree, similarly, what are some other words that people might use to address this concept? So undergraduate, college, higher education, and that will just help you if you want to narrow in on research studies or academic papers that looked at the college experience of economically disadvantaged students. So once you have a robust keyword list for your own topic, this can really help you when we go into the academic databases, because you're not searching the same few words over and over again. And although it can be a little more time consuming, I think students find better results when you experiment with your keyword list. So try different combinations of these words in order to find the relevant literature. So the number one question we encounter as librarians from student researchers is, where should I search? Where should I start my search? And some students do like to use the OneSearch tool on the library homepage because it's a big search box, or even Google Scholar. But I'd like you to consider starting your search on one of the databases on the Education Research Guide. So there's a few ways to find the Education Research Guide, and I'm going to show you how to find it on the library website in a moment, but it's also in all of your Blackboard course shells. So if you have a course in the subject area of education, it's going to link you to the Education Research Guide, and that link is actually called Library Databases, and it's located on the left with all of your other relevant links for the course. So a quick way that you might want to connect to the Education Research Guide is directly from Blackboard, from any of your education courses. Another way to access the Education Research Guide is directly through the St. Peter's University website. And that's located at o'toolllibrary.stpeters.edu. And you can also find us from the library link on the university homepage. So under research support, you'll see a link for research guides. And we have these in every subject area, but the one you're interested in is education. So this guide provides a variety of content. There's, you can look in this left-hand side menu, you'll see different resources from data analysis tools to government resources, some specific information to higher ed, ways to locate relevant journals in education. But I'm going to encourage you to go to the link called Databases. And from there, you'll see all of the different core databases that the O'Toole Library has available in the subject area of education. When you're on this database page, take a moment to read about the various databases and consider which one you might want to search. One database often used by education students is ERIC. It's put together by the United States government and supported here by EBSCO. And it's a big database of government documents, scholarly journals, conference proceedings, and a lot of literature specific to education. So this is kind of where the fun part begins, and we get to put in some of our search terms that we discussed earlier, some of our keywords. And one great thing that EBSCO does is it will suggest related keywords. So it will even do that process for you. So I mentioned economically disadvantaged students as a search term that would narrow in on that EOF population. And what it does here is librarians call this a Boolean string, but it puts some synonyms there. So we don't know if researchers are going to talk about economically disadvantaged students, poverty, or low income students. So this actually lets us search them all at once to expand our search. And Eric also breaks down the search for you through these different boxes. So we don't just want to look at articles talking about economically disadvantaged students. We had some other search terms specific to what the EOF program does. And one of those is called a bridge program. And EBSCO even suggests bridge or transitional programs. So that might be helpful. Going to add that search term. And then we want to make sure we're focused on college students. Oh, look, college students, university students, or undergraduates. So I like to include those strings when the database sort of helps you do that. And then we can look for articles in ERIC, articles, but much more that we'll find in the ERIC database. So we got about 136 results with this sample search, and you could start looking through them and seeing if the full text is available. ERIC, like some of our other research databases, does not only have full text available. It also has some indexed items, which means you'll only get a summary of the full text and you kind of have to track it down. In this case, we were able to open the full text of the study. This is a stakeholder report for Thomson Scholars Learning Communities. And what I would do as the student researcher is read the summary and the key messages listed here and sort of determine whether this is useful scholarship for your particular study. And you can leave it open in the tab there. So that's a little preview of ERIC. There are ways to limit your research. As I said, a lot is coming up with full text for ERIC here, but sometimes you'll find a link that says check for full text. In this case, it's a doctoral dissertation. So I know that this will take you to ProQuest Dissertations and Theses, another database we have. We don't have the full text through EBSCO. It's a little bit confusing, but click that link and you should be transported, and you'll find a variety of literature here. You can also click on the title of the article before clicking for the full text. I think that will allow you to read an abstract of the article usually, or a summary. Yes, an abstract is another word for the summary of the article. So I always recommend for students, especially when we're getting into scholarly research where the articles can be many pages, read the abstract first to find out if it's relevant. This particular study refers to the UK, so you might find it relevant to your research, but you maybe would only want to look at American programs. There's also some citation tools over here on the right in EBSCO, and these exist in many databases, including Google Scholar. So if you want to cite this article and you're doing it more what I call the old-fashioned way of keeping, track of your citations, this will actually provide a version of the APA citation for you that you can, APA 7th edition, that you could copy and paste into a Word doc. And there's also ways to directly export this citation to a citation management tool. I'm recommending Zotero as a free and usable citation tool for students. So you would choose direct export in RIS format to Zotero, and you can learn more about Zotero in another tutorial or read about it yourself, but it's a tool to manage, not to find articles, but to manage your research. So it's just some tips on citation, if you're in an EBSCO database. Click on the title of the article, not the full text link, to find access to those tools. Another database students in education often find useful is the ProQuest education database, which is also listed here in this group of core education databases. And just a reminder, ProQuest and EBSCO are vendors that sell us these journals and aggregate them and make them searchable. So your source, if your professor is asking you what kind of sources you're finding, is not ProQuest or EBSCO. Your source is going to be the name of the journal, which you'll find in the database. So your source is usually a publication, either a journal or maybe an academic conference or a book. So in ProQuest, you can just enter your search terms here if you want to do a whole string like Google, or you can click advanced search if you like the sort of boxes to break up your keyword strings. So if we put in economically disadvantaged, and every database is different. ProQuest doesn't suggest as many terms, but we can work with that. Bridge programs. And college. I'm going to do college or university just to broaden the search myself. So ProQuest really sort of is bringing us more results. We don't know how relevant they are, but we have 8,000 results in this case. One thing I might do here is consider limiting to full text in ProQuest. So you're not necessarily seeing 8,000 results, and some of them are only giving you the abstract or summary. At a later point in your research, you might want to expand. But one thing you can do is start with full text. And that actually only knocked a few results off in this case. Oh, let me see. We're getting some dissertations that come up here, which can be useful. They are even longer than the scholarly article, but we definitely see a lot of other education dissertations for people getting advanced degrees in education that look at this idea of bridge programs. So if that's what the student was wanting to measure in this case, that would be useful. You can also limit, and this is not every result that you have might be from a peer-reviewed journal. But if you sort of don't want to look at those doctoral dissertations, which are not technically from a peer-reviewed source, even though people have to defend their dissertations, if your professor is encouraging you to look more at the scholarly peer-reviewed literature, you can click this limiter on the left to limit your results to peer-reviewed. And that knocked us down from 8,000 to only about 1,000 results. So can see that a lot of those ProQuest results coming up were dissertations. And just like with EBSCO, if you want to know more about the article, if you want to read that abstract, highly recommend, click on the title. And there is a tab to just read the abstract. There's also the PDF is embedded here. And if you decided to use this article, once again, there are citation tools. Every database, it's going to look a little different, but you can read that citation in APA format. We can change it to 7th edition. We want to get the latest format. And we can export it in RIS, which will allow you to put that citation into Zotero. Once again, if you're using that citation tool, that can be done directly from the database, and that's going to save the article for you. You'll be able to put it in a folder and have it for later. So that's totally separate, but I do encourage you to consider signing up for a Zotero account so that you can start gathering your citations. There are other limiters over here on the left-hand side. I'm going to zoom in a little to look at those filters. So you can filter your results in different ways. One that might be relevant is publication date. So you can actually move this to look at more recent literature, or even enter a specific date range. So that's going to also lower your results. And in this case, we went down to 600 results, limiting to just basically the past 10 years. What I did was I limited to 2010 to present. So the past 10 years of scholarship in this area. And you can always play with these search terms. I just did a sample keyword string because I'm showing it in different databases. But the important thing is to search your own terms and to try different terms. So that's another database, ProQuest education database. In addition to ERIC, provided by EBSCO, and ProQuest education database, another database that I like to use for some of these education related topics is SAGE Journals. That's SAGE Journals. And that's also located, if you just scroll down below the core education databases, on the Education Research Guide. So SAGE Journals is interdisciplinary. So it's not just in the subject area of education, but you'll find many journals that relate to educational topics here. So I'm going to try our same keyword string. Bridge programs. Economically disadvantaged, and college or undergraduate. You can use all these limiters. I'm just going to do a search to see what we get starting out. And unlike ERIC, which, as I mentioned, has government reports and conference proceedings, SAGE is strictly academic journals. And once again, if you click on the title of the article, you're going to find out more information about it. So that's one option to do. You could go right to the full text, but sometimes I like to read a little bit about the article first. And there are limiters here. You can also limit by publication date. We got about 449 articles in our results, so you can do that. Newer things should rise to the top, but if we want to just look at the past 10 years, you can certainly do that in SAGE, just as you did in EBSCO and ProQuest. And that brought us down to 162. And you click on the title, you should go right into the view the abstract, and this will tell you about the research article and, you know, give you an idea of their research methods, their outcomes. So you'll see here, they evaluated a summer bridge program. They looked at GPA as one of their variables. And you can get an idea. Once again, look for these little quotes if you want the citation tools. The one great thing about online research is you can usually get some help formatting or saving that APA citation. And you kind of have two options. You can copy this to your clipboard, the APA citation, and paste it into a Google Doc or a Word doc, or however you're kind of building your works cited list. Or you can download the citation in this RIS format and put it in a citation manager or a reference manager. And the one we recommend is Zotero, and you'd have to set up your own account with Zotero, but consider doing that. And Sage, just like ProQuest and EBSCO, will work with that citation manager. Another tip that I didn't mention is if you find a really useful article, be sure, and this is true in any of the databases, be sure to look at their reference list. So if you find a study that really matches your research or is very relevant to your research, take a look at their references and their literature review, because you're going to find sources through that. And these sources you might be able to link to directly or search for in other databases. And I'm going to show you how you might do that next in our OneSearch tool. I've mentioned our OneSearch tool a few times already in this video, and it is featured on the homepage of the Education Research Guide. It's also on the library homepage, otoolllibrary.stpeters.edu. And you can use the OneSearch tool to search for articles and for books with the keywords that you put together. But another way, great use for it is if you know an article or a journal that you're looking for. And I copied an article that I found in the Works Cited in one of the relevant Sage articles I found, The Influence of Academic and Environmental Factors on Hispanic College Degree Attainment. And I'm just going to paste that into the OneSearch tool and just demonstrate to you how you can use this to see if St. Peter's has this article in full text. So the OneSearch tool will search across all of the databases that we subscribe to, the ones I demonstrated, ProQuest, EBSCO, and Sage, as well as several others. So in this case, hooray, the review of higher education, although it wasn't available in Sage through a direct link, it seems like we might have it available. So click the link that says Access Online. And in this case, we actually subscribe to this journal through two different databases, ProQuest Central and Project Muse journals. I'm going to show you Project Muse just because we already looked at ProQuest. And if you click that link, you're taken directly to the article. And you can open it and view it and read it, print it, save it, cite it, all of those things. So that's just one way that you can use our OneSearch. So another way you might want to use the OneSearch tool is just to do a keyword search. And this is probably something you want to do after you've found some literature, searched some other databases, and really narrowed down your topic. I think the OneSearch tool is not great for general searches, but can be good at, number one, looking for really specific content, but also for looking outside of the O'Toole Library's holdings. So what do I mean by that? So I just did a search for Educational Opportunity Fund. I mentioned this is a very specific New Jersey program. And I put that in quotes so I could guarantee that those words could appear together. And that's a trick that you can use in any database or even Google. If you want your words to appear together and not just look for educational opportunity and fund all over the article, you're going to use quotes. That really helps. And I got no results. But we have a way that you can expand your results either to libraries worldwide, or to New Jersey, all New Jersey academic libraries. So as you expand your results to libraries worldwide, we do get 9 results of scholarship referring specifically to the Educational Opportunity Fund. And you might want to take a look at these. This is a report from the 70s on microform. Interesting. This looks like a dissertation that's at Fordham, which we could probably obtain for you. We do have a good relationship with the other Jesuit colleges and universities. Let's see, something from the Hudson Community College Office of Planning and Institutional Research, more microform. Hopefully we could maybe look into that. And if you want to place an interlibrary loan, there is a form that you can fill out. Traditionally, that's how you've done it. But now we've created an opportunity to request the item directly from our OneSearch platform. So when you click this link, you'll be asked to authenticate. You will log in with your Google credentials, and that will generate an interlibrary loan request. Be aware that the OneSearch tool, just like the other databases I showed, also has limiters. So if you do a search in OneSearch, you're going to get a lot of results because, as I mentioned, it searches across so many databases. I did a search for graduation rates, low-income students, and I got a lot of results, 1,500 results. So one thing you might want to do just to start out is limit. You can limit to full text. You can also limit to the last 5 years or 10 years of research. Since our OneSearch tool searches many databases that have newspapers and magazines and non-peer-reviewed content, you can limit to peer-reviewed, and you can limit by a date range. So if you are going to use the OneSearch tool for general keyword searches, I do recommend that you consider doing that. And I don't find the relevance or the results, if you will, are as good here as going into the individual databases, but it's worth a stop if it's worth checking out what we have here and seeing what's available. Now, I didn't mention earlier, but anytime that you go to view the full text of an article, whether it's through a database you're going right, whether you click to go into EBSCO, when you click the full text from our OneSearch tool, at some point, if you're off campus, so if you're at home or someplace else, when you click one of those links, you'll be asked to log in to authenticate, and you'll see a page that looks like this. You'll click Connect with Library Resources. And from there, you will select your St. Peter's Google account. You'll log in with your Google credentials, which is how we get into our St. Peter's University email as well as Blackboard. And if you're already logged into your Google account, either for Blackboard or email, you'll go seamlessly into that library resource. There are times in your research that you might need an article or a report or another document that we can't provide access to easily through our website. And that is why we have the interlibrary loan program that I mentioned earlier. You can look for resources to request through interlibrary loan through our OneSearch tool and potentially do the request right from that platform. But we also do have a Google form for interlibrary loan requests, and a little bit more about that program on our website. So you'll find a link right in the middle here for interlibrary loan. It's also under services at the top of our page. And that will tell you a little bit more about the types of materials that we acquire, the time period it usually takes to find things, and how that works. Most of you will probably be requesting articles, not physical books, for the type of research you're doing. So you would click the article request form and then tell us as much as you can about that article, the title of the publication, the title of the article, the author, the volume, the issue, and we will try to obtain it for you and get it to your email as quickly as possible. I'd just like to point out a few other things on the O'Toole Library website that can be helpful to researchers. One is our chat box here on the left-hand side of the screen. You might see this in research guides as well. And this is an opportunity to get quick help from a librarian, and it's available 24 hours a day. most days out of the year, with the exception of a few major holidays. And if you're not chatting with the St. Peter's University librarian during off hours, you'll be chatting with a librarian, a credentialed librarian from somewhere else who can help you with your research. Also, up above our chat box are the library hours. If you are thinking about coming to campus, we can assist you with research consultations at our reference desk. It's very nice. We have a second screen there where we can search with students and help you in person. Please check our hours before you come to campus because they do change. Our daily hours are always on our website, and then you can click through to see our full calendar. Definitely take a look at that before you come to campus just to make sure we're open. And please remember to bring your one card if you're coming to the library, because you need it not only to enter the building, but to check out materials as well as to print if you're interested in printing at any of the library printers. Thank you for watching this video on library research in education at St. Peter's University. I hope you reach out to us when you need help and connect with us through our website or visit us on campus at 99 Glenwood Avenue at the O'Toole Library. If you go to the O'Toole Library website, you'll see a link on top that says Ask a Librarian. That includes various ways to get help online, our chat box, our email, reference@stpeters.edu, as well as a link to set up a research consultation with the librarian, which could be either in person at our reference desk or online via Zoom. So I hope you do connect with us when those research needs arise, and I wish you the best of luck in your research and academic pursuits.